YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the all-new PA-18 500mm. This thing is super simple to fly, designed for beginners, and it comes ready to fly with everything you need except for the 4 AA's that go inside of here. We just got done filming the T-28 410, which has a similar flight controller. This comes with auto leveling, so when you let go of the sticks, it'll automatically level. And there's also a mode where it's stabilized for a little bit more advanced pilots, and then off if you want to just do that. And those flight modes are over here on this stick, all the way towards your belly. It's on auto leveling. Now to arm this thing, you'll lay it on the ground. Of course, you'll put your battery in. We'll show that all in the Unbox build radio setup. Big, squishy Tundra tires. Very cool, easy to remove if you want them off, but this plane would have fixed gear in real life, so I want them on there. Throttle stick all the way up, all the way down, and then it's armed, okay? Then all your surfaces will start working, and you can take off and fly. Beautiful. So this is a 4-channel, so you have ailerons, elevator, and rudder. There are trimmers for all of the directions. And if you want it to do a return to home function, you have to arm that at the beginning by pressing and holding down on the trim that would go for throttle. We chose not to do that because it doesn't work very good. Okay, full throttle, press the button, pull back on the stick. It's gonna do a loop, very cool. And then I'm gonna go a little bit faster this time, press the button and go to the left or the right, and it will do a self-controlled barrel roll. Very cool, even in auto leveling. Now, these planes fly super easy, and I can tell you this one flies a lot slower, and you can definitely do a tighter quarters flight than you could with the T-28 just because it does go slow. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with the slowness, but I'd like to see a little bit more elevator authority. So there's 3 holes on each of the control horns, and so if you want to have a little bit more elevator authority, you can go from the middle hole to the inside hole, and it will make that control surface move just a little bit more with the same servo action. So if you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we unbox these planes, we fly them, we do all the setup necessary to try to help you learn how to get out of the chair and into the air, and this is no exception. Really good example, and definitely flying really good. As soon as I let go of the sticks, it just kind of goes in an uphill trajectory, a little bit of a cant to the right, so not a big fan of that. Give it a couple of clicks of trim on both the rudder and the aileron, straightened it out nicely. Let's just glide it in and see if it's going straight. Couple more clicks to the left. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're going straight as an arrow. Very nice, and a little bit of throttle seems to bring it up just a hair. Nice flat turns when you just give it yaw, and that means the flight controller is doing its job because it is trying to keep it level, as you can see. In real life, you would have to coordinate your turns to make it flat like that. And I want to coordinate my turns to make it bank and then pull back on the elevator just a little bit to execute a turn. Pretty cool. Now, I'm going to come out of the auto leveling. That's in stabilized mode, and let's see how it feels. Of course, it's a little bit wonky. Trying to give the camera crew a shot of what I'm doing here on the sticks, but she keeps rotating away from me. So you can see it's not like big, aggressive, difficult maneuvers, but the cool thing is when you're in a manual mode like this or a semi-manual mode, you can do all the different maneuvers you would like to do. So if you want to do a knife edge, you can do a knife edge. Not that you have tons of power to do something like that. You can do rolls. So we'll do a barrel roll. This one's a little bit slow on the roll authority, so you might have trouble executing a really tight barrel roll, because as you can see, you're going to stall the wing when you go slow like that. But you can still, I believe, use the trick button. So let's try it. Full throttle, stick. Nope, it doesn't work in that mode. Cool. So now I'm going to go to off, where there is no stabilizer, and it's just feels actually not terrible, but it's got a lot of drift and wonkadelic behavior. I'm just going to go back to auto leveling. You may have heard that double beep. I'm just going to point it at us. So 1 beep, 2 beeps, 3 beeps, okay? Very cool, and definitely a really nice flying plane. It is admittedly quite calm. You want to fly these planes in the calm, okay? Camera crew, you want to go back over to your normal spot, please? Thank you. I hear a manned aircraft, so I'm just trying to coordinate myself. Oh, you guys want to see the manned aircraft? It's up there. I'll fly right in the same trajectory. That might be a PA-18 too. That's cool.
Yep, there he is.
That is so cool. Looks like two of us up there now. So guys, don't fly anywhere near a real manned aircraft. If you're just a novice, just getting used to it, remember there's rules against these things and it would be quite dangerous. So now I'm totally out of throttle. Just so you know, that airplane is probably a couple thousand feet up and it's definitely a few thousand feet away. It's probably a mile away.
He's going away from us as well.
Oh yeah. But guys, just remember, respect manned aircraft. These are sub 250, which means they're below 250 grams, which means there's no need for a remote ID module, and that's the only legal requirement that you might be concerned about if you're going to be flying these in your backyard or at your local school park or maybe a church parking lot or something like that. But just remember, these things are pretty indestructible, and they have a prop that pops off if it hits the ground. So let's try a couple of landings. It's just super easy to fly. I haven't had to crash yet. Let's see if we can bring it in here and land it on the main runway. There it is. And there's the prop. Don't be surprised when the prop pops off, because these wiggly landing gear will let that prop come down and hit. So not a big deal. I'm going to show you exactly how to put this prop back on. Camera crew's going to hold the radio. Make sure your stick is all the way down, kids. If you're playing with this without your parents, get their permission. And then also, if this ever pulls off, it looks like a little flower petal, you can slide that back on with friction. But then look at this. This just lines up with the pedals and it goes back on and we're ready to fly again. Now, I'm gonna do a hand launch just to show you how easy this is with auto leveling. You don't even need throttle. You can just throw it. Boom, there it is. Now into the throttle and it's popped off. So that's one thing you do need to watch out for, is if your prop likes to pop off, you probably didn't get it all the way seated on there properly. Where did it go?
Just right there to your right behind you.
Show the people.
Right here.
And then I'll get the PA-18. So guys, at the end of the day, if you have a lot of other aircraft, this might not be the thing for you. But if you're brand new to the hobby, you want something that's gonna give you a little bit of a transition from totally toy grade, Walmart style garbage that you can find online, because there's a lot of those out there, and something that's actually gonna fly decent. Okay, I'm gonna do this with a little bit of throttle this time. A little bit of throttle and then just give it a throw, okay? So there it is. This is a great option for you. Let's get right on the runway. Perfect, right there. So when FMS said that they were coming out with these, they had this big announcement for us. We were kind of like, are you kidding me? We've only seen 4,000 of them. But I gotta say, this thing flies really good. I would say better than what we've seen. Look how slow it flies. Folks, slow is good. If you are a beginner and you want a fast plane, you don't know what you're doing. Trust me, you want it to be slow. In fact, this is probably even faster than I want it to be. But I gotta say, look how tight of quarters we are. This is probably a 50 by 50 circle. And with a more sophisticated flap equipped plane, I could easily fly in a 50 by 50 circle. But I'm also using a $600 transmitter and $30 batteries and $175 plane. This is gonna be considerably cheaper. And it's a ready to fly, which means it comes out of the box, pretty much ready to go, with the exception of charging a battery. You do have to provide your own USB-A port, but who doesn't have that? Manned aircraft again, I'm just gonna check.
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, he's way back there. So guys, this plane is excellent. And by the way, it does come with another livery. The livery meaning the stickers. It comes with decals you can put right over the top of these red, what appear to be kind of like a water decal. They're very light. The blue option comes in the box. It's a little bit longer than the box, which was kind of dumb to me. It's like nobody noticed it was gonna be longer than the box. But when you get those out, you can apply those if you like the blue a little bit better, or you can just fly with the red. And so if you get two of these, that's one way you can help to differentiate between two aircraft flying in close quarters. Now, also, these are 2.4 gigahertz, so you don't have to worry about having issues with interference because they bind to the particular receiver. So if you need to bind them, there's a binding procedure in the manual. And there is a provided manual on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, and it's very well written in not Chinese. It's in English. They might also have Chinese in it, but it's actually a readable manual. That's one of the reasons we love working with FMS, is because they put out a finished goods that's actually ready to deliver to market in most cases. We do have our complaints about some products from time to time, but even that, you can get on the mains and you can drag out your takeoff. You can't do that with most of these 400 or 500 millimeter ready to flies. Look at that, that's so sweet.
And sometimes that 500mm size class gives us more trouble than the 400s.
Well,
but
we had some that came from a brand.
Yeah.
And the brand just did a terrible job on the flight
not
controller.
good. Yeah.
And to be honest with you, they had done a lot of other good ones in that size class, but I gotta say, this thing feels very good, hon.
It looks really nice.
I think you could probably fly this if you would let me film you flying it.
Probably could.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, even once in a while, the camera crew will allow me to regrettably film her.
Yeah.
So here goes nothing. So first things first, camera crew, give it throttle. I'm gonna come stand by you.
Do I have enough elevator authority?
Yes,
Okay.
you do. You do. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're just gonna use this one to go up about halfway and then just point it. There you go, more. Good job. Now just let it fly in a circle. Just kind of lean it a little bit. You see? Good job. And now let off your throttle a little bit, just a little bit less throttle.
I feel like the throttle is not super responsive.
It isn't gonna be responsive on this type of plane.
I'm trying to bring it back to earth. I don't like hardly any throttle at all.
Just let off the throttle altogether. Just pull the throttle all the way down.
Like all the way, all the way?
All the way down. Yep.
Okay.
So guys, if you notice a terrible quality filming job, that's because I am not the camera crew. This is the camera crew. Now point it at the house. Just stop it turning. Good job. Just
Am I landing?
Huh?
Am I landing it?
I don't care. You're not gonna hurt it even if you crash. Just turn it. Good job. Bring it in. Try not to bring it into the garage. Oh no!
Always.
Good job.
Always props up.
Okay, trade me. Thank you for actually doing that. The camera crew loves it when I put her on the spot.
It's my favorite, with no warning and all those things.
So at the end of the day, if the camera crew can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because she is barely
If the camera can do it, your 7-year-old can do it.
Well, and we have oftentimes found that the 7-year-olds pick up on these things a lot faster than us adults, geriatrics.
Yeah, thanks.
I was talking about me. Now, I also have to admit, there's a lot of vibration on this prop. If you want to make this prop work better and have higher efficiency, maybe make your battery last a little longer, take a small piece of Scotch tape, about 1/4 inch, wrap it around the front edge of that, run it. Does it vibrate worse? Okay. Then take it, move it to the other side. Does it vibrate less? Good. Whichever side has the tape, take your scissors and trim like a 1/16 of an inch off, pull the tape off, and then you'll balance your prop. That's one of the tricks of the day. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we long to see a bigger audience on our channel, but not because we're just trying to grow a YouTube channel, but because we want people flying. This hobby is, for lack of better terms, a dying sport, and it's a shame. It is a crying shame, because what an amazing, super fun, happy, friendly, family friendly, definitely not frustrating, definitely not expensive. That's just a joke, guys.
Definitely not.
RC addiction is one of the best addictions you can have. There's lots of addictions out there, but if you're gonna pick an addiction, this is a good one. I mean, hobby, right? Is that what I meant to say?
Hobby.
So at the end of the day, is this plane gonna be the end-all cure-all for the average Joe? Maybe. But is it hobby grade? I don't know. It feels pretty dang hobby grade for being toy grade.
But if you have been watching RC and you're like, I just don't know, or I don't have the money to
or too
spend
scared.
3 or 4, yeah, I'm too scared.
Which, by the way,
This is how you start.
that's right. And if you act like you're too big and bold and, oh, I fly 747 for a living, congratulations, that's a different skill, okay? Flying 747s is awesome, and I'm glad you know how to do that. But it's not the same as flying an ultra micro plane. This is not an ultra micro, by the way. Ultra micro is a branded option from a competitor. And they are hobby grade, but they're very small and they're more fragile-y.
And more
They're not
expensive.
from Italy. So here on Brian Phillips RC, you want to tell the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that is because we know that there's a lot of people out there that will just literally spew any of the lies that China tells them to say. We are not those people. We will tell you the full truth because we care about this hobby. We care about you. We care about your bottom dollar, and we care about having a good flight experience. That's why We quite literally flew this product. It's beeping at me. I wonder if that's low voltage.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
That would be great. And it didn't beep the whole time obnoxiously.
Hey, I actually got a landing for once. Okay, so what we were saying is, at the end of the day, we want you guys to have a great experience. Part of having a great experience is having all the tools you need in your tool bag. If you don't have somebody to help you, we'll help get you started. I can't teach you to fly, but I can teach you how to put the stuff together. And then you can find help more than likely at a local club. But if your club is unwilling or unable to help you set up your aircraft, you're never gonna get off the ground,
Or
okay?
if your club doesn't exist.
That's right. And at the end of the day, you don't need a club to fly something like this. You can go fly this in your backyard. It's fully legal, it's ethical, you're not gonna have problems, but you do have to have a big enough yard. One thing about this, if you have a schoolyard close by, you can definitely use it. Now, we were talking about this earlier. You can go from this hole to the next hole in and get a little bit more elevator authority, or from this hole all the way to the inside, get a lot more elevator authority. That doesn't mean you're gonna have an aerodynamic 3D plane. It just means you're gonna have more movement per stick movement on your transmitter.
Yep.
The flight controller is still gonna hold the position, but sometimes if you have more movement, there'll be an oscillation that is induced by the flight controller. So if you move it to the inside hole and it's just too much, you gotta go out one hole, okay?
Can you unplug that so I can turn this off? Since it's beeping.
So to get the battery, you just open that lid and there's your 400 milliamp hour 1S pack with a Molex connector. And we're gonna go over all the ins and outs of setting this up in our Unbox build radio setup. And if you're curious about the T-28 that was released at the exact same time with this plane, that's a 410 millimeter Warbird. Beautiful low wing tricycle. Beautiful experience, really good flying. Had a great time flying it. Had our landing gear popping off all over the place. You wanna just check it out. It's a separate video, but they're both gonna share the exact same Unbox build radio setup. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments below or just blast through the Unbox build radio setup and you can check it out for your very own. So guys, thanks so much for watching. If you wanna support Brian Phillips RC, buy these planes from the links. We'll make small commissions from the sale of these products if you follow the links, and that helps to fund our channel so we can fund all these big, huge, crazy projects like runways and things like that. If you want other ways to support the channel, look no further than bprc.me or brianphillipsrc.com, whichever one you want, gets you to the same place, and you can check out competitive offerings that might meet your fancy if you're not into this small stuff. And at the end of the day, we just want to get you in the air as soon as possible, as cheap and effectively as possible, and we want to help get you there successfully. Don't watch the big influencers crashing planes with jet engines. You know, they got millions of dollars to blow on this crap. The average Joe doesn't, okay? We're gonna help get it done in a real life experience, okay? And when you're ready to get up to a 1.3 meter PA-18 or a 1.7 meter, even better, we'll help get you there. In fact, we have the videos right now from this very manufacturer, and you can check it out. We won't link to it in the video description, but you can find it on brianphillipsrc.com. So check it out, guys. Other ways to support us if you just don't have the money for this or you're not in the mood to spend on a new airplane right now, you can support us with Patreon for monthly support, YouTube members for monthly support, YouTube super thanks for one-time donations, PayPal for one-time donations if you don't want to be part of those clubs, totally get it, and then P.O. Box if you need to send us something. And at the end of the day, we just really appreciate you being here. So make sure you smash the like button. Let Google know that you like the long format content where we don't just cater to people that are sitting on toilets watching shorts, okay? We do shorts too. We make shorts from our long format content because at the end of the day, sometimes it's more than just 30-second endorphin rush. Sometimes you want to actually learn something new. We're going to help do that on Brian Phillips RC. We have thousands of videos to prove it. If you just watch half of them, you'll be so sick and tired of hearing me talk, but it'll be awesome for us. So do that if you could. Just quit your job, just do that full time. I'm just joking about that. But at the end of the day, guys, we really do appreciate you being here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing, click the bell for notifications, all that stuff. Thanks for smashing the like button. If you don't got cash for a new plane, we totally get it. We're just glad you're here with us. But don't be on the sidelines, okay? At least not forever. Everybody's got seasons of life, we get it. But get out of the chair and into the air. Something like this is gonna make it economical, and you should be able to do it. Even if you're in a less than desirable flying area, you can probably make this happen. I don't know about flying inside on like a single basketball court, but maybe 2 or 3 basketball courts or tennis courts.
Yeah.
You might be able to fly these even inside. And by the way, they will hold up to rigors of crashes and things like that. Maybe bumps and bruises. You might have to glue something once in a while, but these things are really robust. Nice, soft foam. There's carbon fiber to make them stiff where they need to be stiff, but they're soft and resilient where they need to be soft.
Yep.
So FMS, when you told us about them, we didn't really think much of it. But now that I've flown them, these things are good, guys.
Yeah, they are.
They're the best ones we've had yet. And we've had a lot of them, like probably 30 of this size class. And we got more coming right now. We just agreed to do, what, like 2 more in the last week.
Yes.
So
we got 1 sitting inside that we haven't done yet.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And I can't talk about it.
We have 2 small ones
right.
inside.
So at the end of the day, we're always about bringing you guys the full spectrum of entry level all the way up to more advanced. And we do kind of limit it there just because that's what fits in our space.
Right.
But when the damn runway opens up, we're gonna have a 12-foot wide by like almost 550-foot long runway, 600-foot long runway. It's gonna be a lot bigger. We're gonna be able to facilitate bigger airplanes. This is only 10 feet wide by like 270 feet.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be another 100 feet or so. It's gonna improve circumstances a lot, but it's still a tight runway, guys. 10 feet wide is super small.
Not very wide.
So we're super excited. And they're supposed to be starting in the next few days building that building. So we're really excited. Thanks guys for playing a small part in helping make that happen. So thanks for watching and thanks for coming back for more because I know you will. There's right around the corner, there's so much stuff coming. So thanks for being here. YouTube, Brian Phillips. We've got 2 boxes today. Let's start with the smaller one. Welcome to Brian Phillips RC. We open them up, we show you what to expect, and then we show you all the things you have to do to get them in the air. They're usually aircraft, but sometimes they're not.
Sometimes.
So, without further ado, all new, super exciting, never seen before, maybe. Oh, it's a T-28 410 millimeters. Okay, now, since there's 2 of them,
Just gonna get the suspense
we're just gonna get this out of the way right now.
Okay.
And here's the thing, guys. We've got a day and a half. We've got 37 mile an hour wind before this release. So a day and a half seems like plenty of time to film this, right? Oh, look at that. It's a PA-18. This one's 500 millimeters. So just keep in mind, this one's bigger. These are both ready to fly, and they're both from FMS, which is new. I do not know of a time when FMS has had something like this as an offering. So we're gonna find out if it's any good or if it's just complete trash. I kind of doubt it's gonna be complete trash. At the end of the day, when we do reviews on these planes, we do it in such a way that we understand we're gonna have to check the price point compared to, you know, like that F7F from FMS. I mean, obviously, your average Joe is not gonna get into the hobby spending $800 on a plane or, you know, 150 bucks on a battery or whatever it is. These little ready to flies have been good in the past. We have incidentally seen them in the past, but not from FMS. So my real question is, are they gonna be good? Are they gonna be terrible? I guess we're gonna find out right now. So you're watching an unbox for 2 different products at the same time. That's very unusual. So if you watched a flight and you said, hey, but I wanted to see you unbox that one, don't worry, we'll do both of them in this very video, and we are gonna recycle them into both because they're in the same class, even though they are significantly different in size, which I don't quite understand. We will in a minute.
Right.
Okay? So the T-28 comes in the red and white color, which is pretty sweet. Huge manual, actually printed. That's nice. One of my favorite parts of using FMS equipment is that they do actually have good manuals. Even though they're a Chinese company, they do a good job with manuals. And I gotta say, so far, everything in the package looks good. Comes with a little micro style battery. And we'll show you the goodies in the bag before we even rip out the plane, because I know that's what you guys really want to see. We want to keep you with us for a few minutes here. By the way, thanks for being with us here on Brian Phillips RC, where we show every meticulous step, and that's because most people that are watching YouTube unbox build radio setup videos are needing some help, and that's exactly what we do on this channel. We don't cut corners because we know you guys probably need help, or you would have just done it without watching, okay? What do we have here? We have a 1S LiPo. I'll flip this over. Looks like it is 400 milliamp hour. It does come with a charger. It's very basic, simple. We'll show you this charger, and then we're gonna show you what we're really gonna use on a routine basis. And then inside of this bag, we've got some very light landing gear. Feel like they're probably soft too. Yep, soft. That's the way we like it. We insist on it. Incredibly light, by the way. And same thing with this battery. So we're gonna get that charging right away. And I know some of you are screaming at the TV, just show us the plane. Okay, relax, here it comes. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Looks really nice.
Yes, it is actually really well done. Of course, it's an unpainted white, really good jigging, tight lines. Not gonna have to worry about that stuff coming off. And I don't know, they've mentioned in the past using like a water-based paint, which tends to not be quite as thick and heavy, which is nice. Big ailerons. And one of the best parts of these things, I don't know, yep, that's right. We have the removable prop. Good. Very nice. You know what I didn't see in the package though?
What?
A spare prop. Holy cow.
Oh, that's
true. So anyway, so guys, watch this. Woo! Pretty good flying. And I would never do that with a more expensive, heavier plane. There's a cat here. Good thing she didn't attack this plane. But I gotta say, I love the T-28. It is one of my favorite planes. And it's so weird because when I started flying, in fact, you see a real dinky one back there. Right there. You see that one back there? That's a 2 meter, okay? By the way, FMS makes that plane for E-Flight. The wing is smaller than the horizontal stabilizer. That is actually kind of cool.
That is cool.
I'm surprised I didn't think of Carbon Z T-28, one of the best planes in my fleet. One of my real favorites, and I have hundreds of aircraft. You can get something on a much smaller scale and really hopefully enjoy it. Feels good, I think. What are we dealing with for a motor? Is that a brushless motor or is that a brushed motor? I can't tell. We'll find out in a minute. But you're gonna put your battery inside of here, and it looks like an actually robust, stronger servo. Like these things usually have crappy servos. So my expectations are extremely low. Also, mechanical trim here and here for both of the ailerons. And yes, they do yank at an angle, so that does have corresponding, let's call it inefficiencies involved, but it's very light, okay? Also, pinch hinge, barely there, okay? We've never had a problem with those before.
No.
Full disclosure, okay? It is kind of weird that they chose to have that open that direction instead of the other, because then it would have closed itself if it popped open on landing, but these things are genuinely so light that it's of no consequence. Also, better carbon fiber reinforcements than we've seen on some, and then yes, they did carbon fiber reinforce, and this feels, you could not do that with most of the smaller planes. They're not stiff in the wings like that, but I still feel like this has that squishy sort of, frankly, weak foam. But it's good to be weak on this type of plane. Compare it to a more expensive, considerably nicer Draco, micro Draco. Now this isn't an ultra micro, so this has a much stiffer, thicker foam. It's much more detailed and also considerably more expensive. You're gonna have ball link, connections. You're gonna have better micro servos, ultra micro servos with linear long throw servos, which a lot of us don't like, because we've all had problems with them over the years, but they're also extremely light and good and torquey and very strong. These little 2.5 gram, 2.3 gram, 3 gram servos historically tend to die. But the good news is, if you're brand new to the hobby, you're not gonna fly this thing long enough, you're gonna be sucked into the hobby and you'll be flying a Carbon Z Cub in no time at all. Guys, we also have a transmitter under here. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Got the knife back out. And don't worry, we are gonna get to the PA-18 shortly. PA-18, of course, many of you are probably thinking Cub. That is actually a PA-18, so we'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, so we have throttle stick, detents, nice little basic controller. Reminds me of the Arrows Ready to Fly like Pioneer. Okay, so super similar. Yes, you can extend the sticks if you need longer sticks, which I never met anybody who needed longer sticks until I flew with John from Two Brothers RC, because he needs longer sticks, which is weird. And then I think Gary might have.
Oh.
So anyway, all right, there's 3 stages, 1, 2, 3. Then there's this button, which must be a bit of a panic button. There's a power button, trimmer, 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 trimmer. That's not a trimmer though. I think that's how you set your return to home U-turn stupid feature that's useless. And I'm just hoping that FMS did a better job with their setup. Okay, so let's pop in some batteries. Wow, you had those in your pocket?
I did.
What kind of a freak did I marry?
Well,
The good kind. The flat side goes to the spring, okay? Now guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we will literally go from nothing to flying in the Unbox Build radio setup in almost every circumstance. We have a green light, I don't know what that means, but it did make some noise, audio feedback too. Now let's plop in the gear. So we have mains. These are going to go in, that's the nose gear. That is gonna go in and then rotate and lock. Boom! Nice spring load, very good. These are simpler. For the mains, I believe I want this one to be over here so that it is outboard, meaning that the wheel is pointed out. Snap it in. Super light, really easy install. You can pop those in your pocket. Now, obviously, these are not retractable landing gear. If you get the Carbon Z Cub, you're gonna get retractable landing gear, but with that, you get some robust landing gear. Now remember, I don't have the battery in here, so it's not gonna balance out, but if I did, it would. Also keep in mind, this is a nose gear, so you have no steerable nose gear. Sometimes you'll have a tail dragger that will correspond to the rudder, and therefore you do get some steering authority on the ground. But just keep in mind, typically you get moving so quick with these, you can just get off the ground and then yaw with your rudder or just take off. But you will have already seen it in the Unbox Build radio setup. So let's talk about batteries real quick before we dig into the PA-18, because we know you are all sitting on pins and needles wanting to know exactly how to calibrate, excuse me, not calibrate, but charge this battery. Got excited there. Okay, we'll just go to the next one. Okay, well, we're gonna charge with this one, I guess, because the other one's on the ground somewhere. Plug it in. This thing is all twisted up. I'll just leave it twisted up. Plug it in that way. There's a little red flicker of light that happened.
Yep, you can see the light.
See how it's flickering? Let's go over here so you guys can see. So you see that? That's kind of interesting. I wonder why it's flickering like that. Okay, so this is going to go into this Molex connector. It's keyed, and then it's going to go to a solid red in charging mode, okay? So while the camera crew shows you that up close, I'm gonna pick all the stuff up that went flying across the room violently as I evidently got caught on something in my basket of goodies. Now, real quick, we're gonna test some voltage. I don't know if it's gonna wake this up, but we'll show you that it's working. This is an XBC checker. I like to say battery checker. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get onto the pins, but I think I can. It doesn't look like I'm gonna have enough juice to wake it up, okay? Because yeah, I am on the pins, but I don't think I'm gonna have enough juice to wake it up, okay? So as a result, here's another trick of the day. If you have one of these Predator style battery checkers and voltage alarms, find the minus, put the black on the minus, plug it in, and booyah, you can tell the voltage, very nice. 3.91 volts. Okay, so we're going to plug this back in, let it charge for uno momento. By the way, this is not included with your ready to fly aircraft, but we use them on a lot of different aircrafts, which by the way, feast your eyes on this F7F, beautiful plane. FMS also makes that. And the Cessna 182, which is down there. And just keep in mind guys, FMS has a whole repertoire of different aircraft that are really well done. And we have done almost all of them for you right here on Brian Phillips RC. And all you have to do is check out brianphillipsrc.com. If you don't like spelling names and things, you can just go to bprc.me and it'll take you to the same place. And you can sort by type. You can sort by brand or affiliate that we worked with. You can find exactly what you want to find, which is going to tell you all the stuff you need to know, because when we do a plug and fly plane that is definitely not a ready to fly, feast your eyes on the back of the package, anything good there, then you will see a heck of a lot more information being disseminated to the tune of, we'll start you from nothing and get you in the air. Okay, and we've done it for hundreds of aircraft. So now in this case, we're going to continue on our vein of success We're gonna put this over here. We might actually need to label that. In fact, since we've got two of them, let's label it right now.
Yeah.
This is something we do. You don't have to do it, but we do it. My suggestion is to do it. Anytime you get her ready to fly, T28. Okay?
Perfect.
I usually mark them back here, but that just works because it's there, okay?
I like that they kept this simple and didn't try and like make it look all fancy and fakey. Like just,
fake buttons and stuff. Who wants fake buttons?
Yeah.
I don't want fake buttons.
It's simple. Just make it simple.
Yeah. It is simple, and that's part of the reason why it's good, guys.
Right.
At the end of the day, oh, by the way, colors. This one looks like it just comes in the red and white, but this one comes in a blue and white livery and a red and white. I don't know which one we got. Oh, there's your colors.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it looks like...
Ours is not indicated.
It doesn't indicate.
Oh, it says 2 sets of stickers. Pick the one you like. So maybe you have to apply the decals.
Show them the specs. And then here's the specs on the T28. If you guys need to see the full specs, you can see them right there. But here on Brian Phillips RC, to be honest with you, frankly, if you're a brand new pilot, nobody cares about the specs. You just want to know, does it work? The answer is probably. But listen, they don't always work.
They don't.
They don't. Like, we review stuff that doesn't work once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's extremely frustrating for us. Oh, wow. Those are matte finish. Really nice. Okay. Cool. Okay. We review stuff all the time, and we've had a handful of different planes in this size class that have turned out really good and a handful that have turned out really garbagey. Admittedly, the 400mm and 500mm, it is hit or miss, but the 400s have historically been very good. Okay, so this size class, and I don't know who's making these for FMS or if FMS is actually manufacturing them themselves. If they were, I would be glad. Oh, I see. So you quite literally put those decals over the top of the red ones.
If you want the blue.
That's cool. I like that. Because then I don't have to touch it.
It'd be especially nice like if you were learning to fly with your kid.
That's kind of scary though.
What?
Hope that people don't have it broken. But look how this is held in. It's trapped. See that? Yeah, it's trapped. Yeah. So this goes down and forces that into a position where it's protected. I can take it. I love that you can put it back in the package.
Yeah.
Okay, now this feels similar to other PA-18 style planes that we've seen before. Beautiful spinner, beautiful prop, definitely quick release. So that means, and by the way, you don't think that's a big deal until literally the first 10 seconds of playing with these and it gets broken off. Holy crap, I didn't think that was gonna hit my plane.
Way to go.
Son of a biscuit.
At least it hit not the T28, but you did damage it.
Ah, are you kidding me? I didn't damage my new plane, but I definitely damaged the Hobby King, which, to be honest with you, that just goes to show you, if the foam is El Cheapo, you will get El Dentos, okay? So, whatever, I guess that's life. If you don't want to damage your planes, don't fly other planes into them, is a rule of thumb. I've learned this over the history of my time, but I just thought that flew really good. Let's try it. Should I go this way?
Maybe go to where there's not actually a million planes.
Oh, it goes straight into the wood. So folks, here on Brian Phillips RC, we're not afraid of destroying brand new products just to showcase that they will fly through the room. And I gotta say, that flew really good.
It did really fly really good. It was good.
It's reassuring, but also these clips, just so you can see how easy it is to pop a prop back on. You kind of catch a lip and then just push it on and you're ready to rock.
Yep.
And there it is.
I'm kind of surprised that it didn't come with spare props.
Maybe this one did. I don't know. We'll have to communicate that to our counterparts in China.
At least one would be nice.
You should be sending spare props.
But our kids fly a lot of these and they actually rarely break a prop to the point where it needs to be replaced.
Usually don't break a prop, but you want to know what happens? We lose props in grass this tall.
Yeah, we do lose them.
Okay, but we also are hay farmers. We look like farmers, don't we?
Obviously.
So, here we go. Same kind of setup. You've got a single aileron servo in there. Look at these things. These are going to be useless. Stick them in.
What?
They're just so wiggly.
Oh.
But you know what? I like that they're soft, okay? Oh, and there is a tail dragger wheel in this bag. So kind of same thing, guys. Super easy. Did you only get 4 batteries?
No.
Wow. So not only did I get so lucky to marry a woman that carries around 4 batteries, but you carry around 8 batteries. I don't know whether or not to call the hospital for help or
be double A's in my pocket.
Be glad. Okay. So that is some ugly landing gear.
And it's not attached to the rudder, right? So you
No,
don't
it's
have
not.
any steer.
And that was the first thing I was going to bring up is there isn't. I got to say the decals, the livery on this, it's fine. It's nothing. I do not understand that. Can you read that, please?
I don't feel like I should read it out loud.
Okay.
Whatever.
Random letter choices from China, folks. All right, so it is what it is. You've got more batteries for these?
Yep.
Oh, and there is a quality control certificate in here. It's just this round thing, so no, that's not like an I voted sticker or anything like that. I don't care. This is fine, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna stick it back in the box.
Right.
Because there's nothing on the bottom. Okay.
But again, if you have 2 people, you're learning to fly with your kid, you can put the blue
By the way,
decals on.
makes a big difference.
It does.
It is hard to keep track, even with 2 planes that are different colors when you're brand new, okay?
Yeah.
This is a little bit longer than the packaging. That was a miss on somebody's part. They probably should have known how wide this was gonna be.
Yeah.
It's too wide.
That's why it's folded.
That's all right. We'll give him a pass on that. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we show all the gaffes in addition to our own, okay?
Correct.
Because we review stuff from China, we poke fun at their mistakes, but we also make mistakes. And so it's fun to laugh at yourself when you make a mistake. But at the end of the day, some of these things are preference issues and not necessarily mistakes. So we also acknowledge that there might be occasional differences of opinions between us and a particular manufacturer. So if that happens, you understand. But we do have an opinion, and our opinion is gonna get shared. All right, so check this out. PA-18, ready? Throttle stick down. PA-18, okay? Very good.
Okay.
So we're gonna just cram this in. I do like the carrying handle. There's no lanyard attachment point, but I typically wouldn't lanyard up a smaller transmitter like this. It's light, it's easy to carry. It does feel good. It's got nice high quality switches. We've seen some junk on these ready to flies. This is more or less fine. Oh, look, it's got an FCC ID on it. Are you kidding me? It's actually legal? Well, there was some wasted money.
Well,
they should do that.
Those little transmitters also fit in kids' hands too,
That's
which
right.
is nice. They're good.
Because compared to a bigger transmitter, they do actually matter. Oh, and by the way, let's look at the battery size quick. Looks to be the same, but looks can be deceiving. Yep, that one looks like a 400 milliamp hour, which speaks to the capacity. This is a 1S, meaning it is one cell in series. Sounds stupid for anybody who knows what series means. It would normally be described as one cell, but we call it one cell in series.
Right.
Even though there is no series, if that makes sense. If it were in parallel, then it would be 2, and the positive and the negative would be hooked together. If it's in series, then the positive of this one goes to the negative of the next one, and then the positive and negative of the lot of them become the output, the main discharge, okay? We'll teach you things like that as you work your way through the ranks. Now, if you're serious about flying these things, here's the thing. You're gonna end up with something like this. This is the Spectrum Micro Lipo Charger. Has to be announced like that too, or it doesn't work. Okay, plug it in, it's AC charger. Molex connectors are here, as well as the JST, pH 2.0, and then the UM, which is another micro pH plug. So this one here, you can see it only goes into one hole. If you try to do it backward and you press hard enough, you might be able to get it to work. But I think in this case, we're just gonna stick it in where it fits. And then we're gonna press this and look, 0.0, I wanna get this to 0.4 amps, which is the same as 400 milliamp hours. Then that's at 3.9. So real quick, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. See this? Watch, more. Where did my little thing go?
Oh, you put it down here with the...
So we're gonna check this, see if it's even charging, folks. Okay. So minus is toward my belly. Plug it in. What do we have? 4.05. So it's up. Okay, so it's charging, but I am impatient, so I'm just gonna stick this in here too. And what I'm gonna do is I'll show you again. You press this down, then you scroll in the value you want by turning the knob. We'll link to this. This is not from FMS. It is not included with the product. It's a separate product. You can see that it's demonstrating the voltage, which is kind of nice. So if you don't have something like this sitting around, you could plug this into your laptop, your cell phone charger, whatever it is. and then you can charge. So it's super easy and super simple, which is nice for people that are just getting into the hobby. However, my expectation is if you're buying this plane for your husband and you want the kids to be able to play with your husband, then buy two.
Yeah.
Don't just buy one. And I'm not talking about batteries, I'm talking about two planes. Then you can get one of these things for like 40 or 50 bucks or whatever they're going for these days. Maybe it's like 150 bucks now with tariffs. But either way, the point is get one. You're gonna wanna charge stuff faster. Also, charging at 400 milliamps would be called 1C, or we would consider that to be 1C. You can charge that pack probably at 2C. So you could charge it at 0.8 amps. You could even probably charge it at 1.2, which would be 3C. But it's up to you. Whatever you do, keep your eyes on it, keep your ears on it, be in close proximity. If you smell something going funny, then deal with it. And I'm not talking about the after effects of your Mexican lunch. Don't charge them at night while you're sleeping. Don't charge them and leave. Put them on a hard surface, like this is granite. Even if this thing caught on fire right here, if it didn't chase down the wire, we would be more or less safe. Okay, that's a lot of potential energy right there. These batteries are huge and there's a lot of them. Don't be like me, do things better. We run a YouTube channel, okay? That being said, if you're concerned about battery safety, keep in mind we have fire extinguishers here, fire extinguishers there, fire extinguishers there. We have 1, 2, 3 egresses, and we have egresses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this main area, 6. So if you know you're safe or you're comfortable being safe, just be as safe as you can. These props are generally not gonna hurt you, just to be clear. They're not gonna spin hard enough, they're not gonna spin fast enough, and they're gonna break right off and pop off like this if they really hit you hard. Now, if it hits your eyeballs, that's gonna be a bad day. So don't hit your eyeballs, try not to hit your face. But to be honest with you, one of the worst things you could do is like catch your daughter's hair with this and get tangled in it. I'm not saying I've done that for the record, but I may have done that with drones a few times. Twice. Okay, anyway. So manuals that come with these will tell you how to do things. They should be relatively basic. All we have to do is plug in the battery. This will wake up. It's one of the few times where you have to sometimes turn on the plane first and then turn on your transmitter. Every other real plane, helicopter, quad, VTOL, you're gonna turn on the transmitter first. Keep command of it, make sure you're in the right plane so that we can actually control these giant spinning props that will cut fingers off.
Yeah.
And will cause you to die if you did it just right. That being said, the Catalina, look at this. This is the one I hit with the plane.
See?
That poor dent on the top now.
It's gonna like hold water.
By the way, if you get a dent in foam, yes, you can fix it. If it's a really bad dent, that's not a really bad dent. You can actually fill it with lightweight spackle and you can let it dry and then you can paint it. Or if it's a small imperfection that you want to fix on the wingtip or on a tail, even with this more expanded rubbery side sort of foam, like suppose I crush this in, I could take hot water and I can run this under hot water and it will, many times it will repuff into position, okay? So there's a lot of different tech that goes into, technology that goes into making this foam the way that it is so it's resilient, and along with the carbon fiber, fiberglass, plastic, and metal, and sometimes some balsa wood, basswood that helps to make the structural rigidity in these foamies. There's also a lot of procedures like hot water or taking warm water and putting it in a microwave and warming it up for a few minutes using a hot pad, picking it up, you can dip the tip and that way it will actually expand back out those balls of foam, okay? We go through stuff like that on Brian Phillips RC on a somewhat periodic basis, and I'm not admitting because I crash, those trees weren't there 42 years ago.
Neither were you.
Well, so anyway, 4.14 and 4.17, excuse me, 18 now. So let's go ahead and just show you what happens if you were to screw them up. You get an alarm, we'll click. We'll just acknowledge it, and then we're gonna come back over here and let's show you what it looks like to fire up your given plane. You wanna start with the T-28?
Okay.
So, first thing you do, pull this down. If you can't get that out with your fingertips, use the lead. Go in there with the lead and get it to where it's like tangled up with it a little bit. And if you really get in a pinch and you can't get it out, pop one of your landing gear off like this. You can reach into the plane and just pull that out. Once you get a little bit of memory on there, it should be easier, okay? So we can lay this down. I'm actually just gonna put that gear like that. Now, this is keyed, so you can only do it one way, okay? But just double check your color. The red is away from my belly, so I want the red away from my belly on the battery, okay? And I'll just pull the landing gear out of the way now, plug this in. Okay, now that that's plugged in, you can see some lights flashing inside. So we'll stuff this in the hole. And there's a couple of different ways you can stuff it in, but I'm gonna let you guys use your best judgment on what direction you like to put it and what hole you wanna stick it in. As for the batteries, don't do it like that. I'm gonna try to do this, like that. No. There, that's probably good enough, except I don't like that it is down like that. So let's try going up into the nose, like this. You see how I grabbed it by the lead? This is gonna work. I can already feel it. Oh yeah, so good. Look at that, and I'll be able to get that out fairly easy. Look at that, nice smooth. And then I'm gonna stick the gear back into the hole, and then I'm gonna pivot it back and lock it, okay? So now you'll notice it sits on its mains. Really nice, huh? Okay, now turn on the transmitter. Wait for everything to start. Nothing's starting. Weird, right? Okay, not sure why. Throttle up, throttle down. Now it's working. Okay, so you can see when I move the sticks, that is gonna roll the plane left, roll the plane right, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right, okay? So, full throttle. You guys hear that? Seems like pretty good thrust. It's got enough to get around, okay? Now, there's gonna be modes here. I don't know which mode does what, but we're gonna find out from the manual. Camera crew and I are gonna look at that right now.
Gear. There we go.
Okay, so mode toggle. So how do you know what mode you're in?
Oh, here you go. So manual mode is away from you.
Okay.
Optimized in the middle, and then full stabilized mode.
Okay, so now watch this, guys. Keep in mind, there's no throttle cut, so don't bump that and get caught. So as I roll this plane, it's gonna try to resist. Yep, resist, resist, resist. Now look at the elevator. It's gonna resist as I lift or lower. Lifting, it resists. Lowering, it resists. Same thing with this. It's gonna yaw, it's gonna resist, it's gonna resist. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to be back.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Very
Here,
slightly.
how about I hold it, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna hold the plane and I'm gonna give you guys a front. Watch this. Look at that rudder. Move very, very subtly. That's not so subtle when you look close, is it? Now look at the elevator. Up, now down. Up, now down. Up. Now look at the ailerons. Roll up, roll down. Roll up, roll down. Camera crew? So, as you can see, this is stabilizing, but it's not trying to level the aircraft. It's just sort of trying to hold a position, okay? Now, if I pull this all the way to my belly, now it's gonna auto level. See, it's finding the quickest route to level. So let's show them what auto leveling looks like by not hitting another plane. Let's throw it that direction. Doesn't work. Keeps it pretty much level, okay? Now, it's not broke yet either, you notice, which is pretty cool, except that the prop came off, okay? And I bent my landing gear back. Well, that can be symptomatic from not controlling the plane at all.
Right.
But I just wanna show you the extent of the damage was 3 seconds of bending the steel back, okay? So it did keep the plane level, but ironically, it felt like it kept it pretty level without. And you'll notice there's a prop missing now. So I have to go searching. We'll find it and come right back. That thing went all the way into the stairway. Ridiculous. So that's what we were talking about earlier. Now, if that were on top of grass that was this tall or this tall, it'd be kind of tough to find. But I gotta say, they did a nice job on the spinner. It looks very good. And I gotta say that I also really like the decals here. They didn't try to do a mount that was like huge, but they still pulled it off. Also, look at the color of the light. Solid, still solid, and still solid, okay? So you're not gonna be able to tell. And I'm just gonna do this right now, what the manufacturer should have done, that they didn't do. I'm gonna mark my transmitter.
Yeah.
Okay? So, cam crew is gonna, all right. So, all the way back toward me is auto leveling. Auto level. Okay? Then stabilizer. Okay? And then off. Okay? So we've got all three modes. So I'm just gonna draw like an arrow that goes up here to the back. And then I'm gonna draw an arrow that goes over here to the middle, which is the lamest possible way I could have done this. And then I'm gonna draw a little bump and then come to this point. Okay, good enough. You guys don't even need to see, it's just for me to remember. And then we're gonna have the same setup on this PA-18. The only difference is it's a different airframe, okay? So now, there's another function that I think this has. It's got a return to home and stunts, okay? So this is the same as we've seen from the other Chinese offerings, and we're never impressed with it. But the one-touch stunts are kind of fun, okay? So what you're doing is when you're flying, they want you to be at a height of approximately 20 meters. So if you're 60 feet up.
Holy cow.
By the way, 60 feet up is a long ways up. I mean,
especially with a little plane.
With a little plane.
Like how I fly.
I don't think most people are gonna be 60 feet up doing this. But anyway, all you gotta do is, once the return to home activation is complete, when the aircraft is flying at a distance of more than 20 meters, pull the return to home button downwards. That's this button. Yes. Where is it? Show the people. Go to the other side.
Right here?
No, over here. Return to home button, right here. It would be like your throttle trim. Okay? And then also this is your stunt button up here, okay? Right? So that all makes sense. But you have to set that before takeoff, right?
I guess. I don't know how you set it. I don't see how you set it.
Place the aircraft on a level surface. Turn on the transmitter and power on the aircraft. Point the aircraft in the intended flight direction. The intended flight direction? It's a freaking airplane.
So...
Okay, continuing the directions.
Push and
hold the return to home button upward for about 1 second. Okay, listen, that's the direction I want it to go. Now we've set the home, like now, if we're 20 meters away, watch what happens when I tell it to do it. How long do you have to do it?
No, it says quickly push the throttle to the highest position, then pull back to the lowest. Oh, you already initiated it.
I already did that.
Okay.
So then, once the return to home activation is complete, how do you activate it?
You did up here. You just did. You pushed.
No, how do I actually do it?
Pull the return to home button downwards. The aircraft will automatically turn around and fly back to your direction. You can take control of the aircraft at any time by operating the control stick.
But just look at it. Yeah, like I don't see it. It should be giving me rudder and trying to change its attitude.
No, turn it around because that's the direction that you had it. That's the direction that you initiated
it. It should turn around and come toward it. It should turn around and come back.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So guys, we have just clearly explained why we have never talked about the return to home function. It is stupid. It does not work. Don't depend on it. It's totally idiotic. Don't use it. But what is cool is the stunt button. This is the stunt button and it's fun. How gimmicky is it? Very gimmicky. You press this button, then you pull a maneuver and the flight controller will automatically execute a loop or a roll. So press and hold, then execute. Press and hold, and then execute. You don't even have to press and hold, you just push it momentarily. So those are the features. If you are flying in manual mode, then I think you're gonna just do the things. Maybe you have to be in automatic mode. Let's go to the beginner mode or whatever, okay? Now let's try, since we're over here, we're going in a different trajectory. I'm pulling down. Oh, look at that. Now it's trying to bank. I don't know if it's gonna turn. I wanna see what's gonna happen. Nope, it's just auto leveling, never mind.
Okay.
I tried to pull down the button here.
Yeah.
To see if it would go home. We'll try it, but I'm guessing it's just gonna be a complete waste of time. But the stunt button will work, okay? We've seen them before, it's super fun. Just make sure you have enough altitude. If you do it at like 10 feet off the ground, there's a good chance it's gonna smack into the ground. And then you're gonna be looking for the only prop that came with it, okay? Now, admittedly, we have done a handful of different small T-28s over the years. They've always been fun. We've always had a great time with them. And yes, you can pull this gear off and you can fly it without landing gear, okay? So I think that this is gonna be a great little product for a beginner, but just keep in mind, as with any other RC product, you have to come prepared. Flying is harder than it looks, even with the aids that are involved. But there's never been a time easier to learn to fly than right now. And do we want to show them this one real quick?
Let's just initiate it just in case there's
make sure there's no
about
idiosyncrasies about this. Oh, that one came right out. Nice. Okay. So I'll hold this off to the side. The red is up and away from my belly. Keep in mind, guys, these are the same batteries. Okay. Just kind of stuff that down in there carefully. Be nice to your leads so that your leads are nice back. Okay. Got that in. Now, I am going to turn on the transmitter. I noticed on this one I had to throttle up and throttle down. Throttle up, throttle down. Whoa, I didn't get that all the way back on, evidently. Pop this back on. Okay. There it goes. Pretty good amount of power. Yeah. Not bad. See, it's kind of trying to pull away. Almost unlimited vertical, which is better than we've seen in some of these, models. Is this a brushless motor? Did it say on the box?
No, we have to read the manual.
Oh, okay. I don't want to do that thing.
Yeah, no, you won't.
So as you can see, we have a rudder that moves. We have an elevator that moves, and we have ailerons that move. They're little baby ailerons. I do not know why they don't make the ailerons longer, because it would sure look cooler. The other thing too is if they made those out here, then you could actually cut in inboard flaps. And inboard ailerons work poorly on long wing planes, okay? So you could take this, and if you like the clipped wing cub, you could cut this and make it even smaller, more aerobatic. But I like the longer wing. I think it's gonna be good for a beginner. It'll be fun. And we've had a really good experience with this exact style of ultra small planes, okay? So real quick, you see the cat? Come over here, show the cat.
Sorry. She's anticipating your shenanigans.
Okay, I'm in auto leveling.
Where are you going with this?
I'm gonna just fly it and crash it. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so as you can see, everything works fine.
It flies nice and straight.
Yeah, it flies nice and straight. That was an auto leveling, okay? So if you guys are brand new to the hobby and you got a few bucks burning a hole in your pocket, now these are gonna be inexpensive, and that's part of the key to the successful transaction here, is that they're inexpensive, okay? Here's the thing. It does not take a rocket scientist to know that this is not going to be as good as a 1.8 meter PA-18, which is, by the way, awesome, okay? It is a 1.8, right?
I think the PA...
There's a 1.7 Ranger and then a 1.8 PA-18, right?
I think that's what it is.
Or vice versa. And if I said that backward, guys, forgive me. There's also a 1.3 meter Ranger, or excuse me, 1.3 meter PA-18 that you can get. And then they have a Ranger that's got a tricycle landing gear that looks a lot like this. And that is an excellent beginner plane. So here's the thing, here on Brian Phillips RC, we're not married to one particular model over another particular model, but we do want for consistent, reliable partnerships with brands that make good stuff, okay? Good stuff is not a guarantee when you're buying from China. We have learned from personal experience with hundreds of transactions. If you want something that's going to be reliably good, FMS is generally a good partnership in that regard, okay? Also, they make a lot of the most popular E-Flight lineup, which is really good too. And it speaks to the quality of their builds. You can usually tell also from the manuals, because the manuals look a lot the same, okay? That's not to take anything away from E-Flight. That's not to take anything away from FMS. It's just a reality, okay? Because we deal in reality here on Brian Phillips RC, not what we want the reality to be, okay? So would we love it if these things were even cheaper and more attainable? Sure. But since they are what they are, we're gonna suggest that you consider them and follow the links in the video description below when you do consider these things. And that is one of the best ways you can help support Brian Phillips RC and the things that we do in RC. And that would also include the camera crew and our kids that have to be involved in this stuff, whether or not they love it. But I can just tell you this, as a kid, I would have killed to have a station that looks like this on my table, okay? I remember making, when I was a kid, I'm in my 40s, okay? I had a wish list that I would give my parents. And it would say like, his birthday. This is what I would like to have for my birthday. And I remember writing almost verbatim for something exactly like this. Now, I probably would have said I wanted this, you know, or I would have thought I wanted like an F-14 or something like that.
Right.
Well, you're not gonna fly an F-14 for your first plane. Yes, you can get a twin 40mm F-14 that's a lot like this SR-71, okay? Except it flies a lot better than that SR-71. I still want the SR-71 because it's awesome and it does technically fly. Technically is the problem. We want you guys to have a good experience. And sometimes a good experience is an experience you're gonna have in 2 years and not right now. Because here's the thing, unless you're one of these like freak 6-year-olds that flies for German, you know, sponsored aircraft manufacturers, you need practice, okay? These 6-year-olds, and by the way, we know, I'm talking about Luca. Luca, if you're watching, I don't know why you're watching this, but that's okay. We see them at world-renowned RC events like Joe Knoll, which is really fun in South Carolina. So these things are gonna get you from where you are, which is knowing absolutely nothing about RC, into, or maybe a little bit, or you dabbled a few years ago and you just didn't find success because you bought the wrong thing. This will be something you can use. Now, admittedly, we haven't flown them outside. Admittedly, we got 37-mile-an-hour wind for the next 2 days, which means it's gonna be very challenging for us to get footage in time for this release. Which is, if I recall, exactly what happened on the last release from FMS.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Remember the P-51? Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that's right. So at the end of the day, we don't set the schedule, we don't set the release times, but what we do is tell the truth on this channel, because at the end of the day, it's really going to be beneficial for you to have at least good information to make good decisions with your otherwise limited RC budget, unless you're independently wealthy. And if you are independently wealthy, you don't want to waste your time on the garbage, okay? So either way, you still win. So we hope to help you sift through the plethora of Chinese offerings and bring you some of the best will float to the top. Now, they'll float to the top on their own merit, not because of what we tell you or don't tell you. But we are going to tell you what we experience with these things. And that's part of the reason why we exist on YouTube. So anyway, hopefully we answered your questions. If you want to support us, buy them from the links. They will be linked in the video description below. We'll link to both of these. But if you like something else that FMS has made, or like that F7F, or whatever it happens to be, you can have it at brianphillipsrc.com. And the only reason I suggest that rather than going to the playlists on YouTube is because we have so many of them. Hundreds of playlists with thousands of videos. We can't find stuff we want to find.
Yeah.
So the best thing we do is we search the playlist, but YouTube's search results for playlists, they may own the world's most proficient search engine on planet Earth, but yet they don't have a good enough search engine for their own largest video platform in the world.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't understand it. But anyway, if you go to Brian Phillips RC, we figured it out, you know, because we have a Wix website, you know, so we're experts.
Yeah.
Evidently.
I am.
Yeah, and it's sorted by type by the camera crew. So if you want to support the camera crew, head over there, check out what you want to see. And yes, it's always going to be one or the other, but we usually don't review 2 planes at the same time. That's unusual for us to do. The reason we're doing this is because the release is coordinated and the timing has been set for us. That's why you're probably seeing this from yesterday when you were in bed.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed it. These are pretty sweet looking airplanes. They've done a really nice job. When we heard about these, our initial gut instinct was, oh, well, they're about 4 years late to the party. And yours might be exactly the same thing. And after having seen them, you might feel the same way. And if that's true, well, congratulations, we're gonna be in agreement. But I do think that these have a little bit of an edge on some of the competitive offerings, but I don't know that yet. I tend to think that there's more stabilization happening, and if they fly better and they have a better flight controller, or the flight controller works better than the competitive offerings from
Right.
then so be it. Which, by the way, these are probably being made by them anyway, is my guess.
I don't know. Maybe.
And packaged by
The
FMS boxes.
The thing is though, like if you're new to the hobby, you don't know all the other options that are out there.
That's right.
So if you're new and you're just seeing this and you're like, I want to get started yesterday, where do I start?
Yeah,
These might be a good
that's
option.
right. Oh, and by the way, that's a very good point you bring up, camera crew. If you're looking to get into the hobby, let's give you a hypothetical situation. Let's say you wait 6 months to start. Do you think it's going to be cheaper in 6 months to buy RC products?
I'm gonna guess no.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be easier to fly in 6 months? Well, for us, it's probably going to be starting to get snowy.
Gross.
I know it's disgusting, but do you think that's going to make it easier?
No.
Okay. So what we're saying is there's never a better time than now to get into the hobby. Does not mean you have to blow thousands of dollars to do it. However, if you have thousands of dollars to blow, you can definitely do it. We're going to help you spend in the right direction so that you're not spending into the garbage can with crash airplanes, okay? And yes, that is what many of these manufacturers would have you do, is to spend into the garbage can on all the junk that they want to offer you. There are sometimes not a good fit, okay?
No.
We have reviewed, for this brand, we have reviewed planes that they want us to tell you it is good for a beginner. And I'm like, no, an F-18 fixed gear is not good for a beginner.
Or if you go to your local hobby shop and they sell you a V900 with a surface transmitter.
Yes.
That's probably not a good place to
Yes, which did literally happen to one of our viewers last week.
All the time.
Guys, we can't stop. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the hobby shops. We have great relationships with a lot of hobby shops because we help to promote a product that they're selling stuff. Well, of course, we're competitive with them to a certain extent because of the commissions that we earn on sales from these things, which doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. But at the end of the day, we just want to grow the hobby, let everybody win.
And we want you to stay in the hobby. If you go crash a V900, you're going to be done.
That's right. And a V900 is about the worst choice you could make for a beginner.
It's right up there.
And we would tell you that if you asked.
Right.
And that's why we're here, because it's very easy for people to get into this hobby and price where they want to be. I have money, therefore I want to fly the V900 first. I don't care if you're Tyler Perry and you've got money, because Tyler Perry has money, which, by the way, if you didn't know, he flies RC and he's an excellent pilot. And I really would love to meet him someday and fly his awesome airstrip. But at any rate, the point is this: you don't start with a V900.
No.
That's a terrible choice. That's an awesome plane.
And if you're new to the hobby, you don't know that it's a terrible choice.
That's right.
So you need somebody that will tell you.
The hobby shop would tell you that, but evidently not.
Not that one, apparently.
And a ground transmitter does not speak the same protocol
as an air transmitter.
As an air transmitter. I did not know this 10 years ago when I was starting, but I know it now, and we have many transmitters. By the way, they're expensive, so you need to get the right tool.
Yep.
Also, we'll teach you how to use those, okay? And yes, there's obviously more than one way to skin a cat, but I don't know why you're skinning cats. That's weird. So if you want help learning RC, then you're in the right place on Brian Phillips RC. We'll teach you about battery technology. We'll teach you how not to chop your hands off. If you do what we say, you'll have pretty good luck. We can't stop you from making bad decisions, but we can help you recover from bad decisions, unless it's got to do with your wife. And then you got to live with it. So snakes in the basement, tip the UPS guy to bring them around back. So what else, hon? I'm one of the lucky ones. Right?
Yeah.
She's giving me the look.
Just trying to figure out what it says about me.
At the end of the day, we love this hobby. We want to see you guys succeed, and we also want to help support a hobby that we love, because at the end of the day, we need always to have fresh blood in the water for people that can eventually end up getting into a plane like this. You realize there's a lot of people that started watching our channel that are now advanced past our channel.
Oh, yeah.
Totally past. Mm-hmm. And we meet them all the time, and it breaks my heart. At the same time, it's also encouraging, because that means that we played a small part in their success. And it may be a small part, but it was still a part. And if you want to live that same experience, you're in the right place on Brian Phillips RC. So subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. When you do, you'll help the growth of the channel as well, which is nice. Also, don't forget, we don't ever ask you guys to share, but you should share, because there's a lot of people out there right now that are willing to tell you whatever the manufacturer says. We don't care what the manufacturer says. In fact, usually whatever they say, we like do the opposite thing because We know what manufacturers are trying to do, and I'm not saying that they're like evil because they want to sell their product. That's exactly what I would do if I was making this widget. As a business person, that's exactly what you ought to be doing. But as a RC influencer on YouTube that cares and loves this hobby, cares about you and loves this hobby, our job is to tell you the truth. And we're gonna do it. All right, have I left any stone unturned?
Nope.
All right, leave your comments down below if we're telling the truth. If you have an example of when we told you the truth and it helped you out of a bind, leave it in the comments below. Beginners watch these videos because beginners need help. And we are really gonna be here to help. By the way, if you get that 1.7 meter PA-18, it is awesome. It is like one of my favorites, okay? That is one of my favorites. That Catalina is pretty awesome too. It's made by a competitive brand. Of course, you can watch our footage on that. This F7F is awesome. One of the most beautiful retractable landing gear sets on any of the planes that we currently possess. But we're not married to one particular brand, one particular plane, one particular accessory, okay? We do lean towards Spectrum transmitters because that's what I learned on and I love them, okay? And we do lean towards Spectrum batteries and receivers because that's what I learned on and that's what I like, okay? We don't always use them. But if you were to get that plane, we'll show you how to set it up start to finish and you can have a great experience. But it's a lot more money to get started, so. And also, just so you know, I have 250 plus transmitter profiles in here for different aircraft in this one transmitter, okay? You're only supposed to have 250. I think I got like 275 in here. It's supposed to crash after 250. Well, it hadn't crashed yet. And I have another one brand new in the box. It's an NX8. I'm gonna go backward and show you guys. The truth is, you don't have to spend $2,000 on a transmitter to have a good experience. But if you do, you'll probably have a really good experience. Unless you can't figure out how to use it. And then you have $2,000 paperweight, and we have helped people out of those exact circumstances on this channel. So we're gonna help you too. All right, that's all we got for you tonight. Guys, don't forget, if you order this plane and you wanna have a better charger to help supplement so you don't have to use these provided ones, which are totally fine, they're just a little bit slower, check out the link. It'll be right below the planes for this micro charger. We use this and we demonstrate the same exact charger. We actually have another one that we have that we don't use near as much, and it looks like this, okay? I just don't like it as much, so we don't talk about it as much. And this is the one we use when we have 1S batteries. But as you can see, you can do almost all the same things with this. So why would you have this versus that?
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's the type of thing that we're gonna do, is we're gonna help sift through the plethora of millions of different choices and distractions that wanna take your RC budget. And we're gonna get you focused on what you need to get the job done. Have I left anything out?
Nope.
All right, guys. Once again, T28, 410 millimeters, PA-18, 500 millimeters. Both should be pretty cool and acceptable offerings from FMS. Good job, FMS. We hope these things fly well. Next time, maybe give us more than 48 hours to give you good footage, because sometimes it's like -14 out and snowing, which, yes, we've done those too. In fact, not too long ago, we filmed a CJ6 in a snowstorm.
That was super cool.
And that was an awesome flight. And by the way, awesome plane. I would have never, ever picked that plane. And then I flew it and I was in love with its flight performance. I didn't even know what a CJ6 was before we did that plane. It's like a Chinese plane.
Military plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, your taste changed as you get into this hobby. You will think, hey, I don't like the PA-18 when you first start, or maybe you will. Or I don't like the T28. Give it a few months. You'll get there. T28 was low on my list of favorites. What's another example? The red one.
The T28 is one I always say.
Yeah.
The red one.
The red one I'm thinking of.
The Yak?
It's an FMS. Well, the Yak is one that I thought looked like an Angry Birds.
Yeah.
One of my favorites now. What's the other red one?
The Avanti?
No.
No.
It's a prop, turbo prop. I can't think
Oh,
of it off
the
top
Pilatus.
of my... The Pilatus. Yeah, the PC
21.
One of my favorite planes, which is crazy because it's, I mean, I have a lot of favorites,
Yeah, I was gonna
admittedly.
say.
But it's so funny because you will mature into an appreciation for aircraft that you didn't have maybe before, or maybe you do already, and maybe you won't. But I can tell you this, my personal experience was, I have matured into a bigger and greater appreciation for all this aircraft, all of the aircraft that we do on this channel, because they all offer a very different experience, which I would have told you when I first started, yeah, I just need a high wing trainer and a jet or something like that. Yeah, right. 400 plus deep probably right now in airplanes, probably 200 in helicopters and small planes like this. And I still need more to really hit the spot.
Okay.
You can be just like me. But anyway, that will help wet your whistle. This is gonna get you enough information. Make a good decision. Stay tuned. More from Brian Phillips, RC. Come back for more. Oh yeah, and if you wanna support us but you don't wanna buy these planes, check out brianphillipsrc.com. Check out one of the competitive offerings from FMS or one of the other brand affiliates we work with. And if you don't wanna do that, we have YouTube Super Thanks for one-time donations. Also YouTube members if you wanna do it on a monthly basis, or Patreon for monthly support, as well as a PO box if you wanna send us something. Just let us know in an email if that comes up. And did I say PayPal? And we do PayPal as well. So there's a bunch of different ways to support us financially if you're interested. The best of which is to watch, like, subscribe. Just definitely buy them when you buy them from the links. That's one of the best ways you can support us, because then that helps us to bolster our relationships with the companies, which we have historically been able to weed through some of the worst, so you don't have to. But the ones that are good, let us tell the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that sometimes means awkward conversations with you. Even though they want us to say this, we say that. All right, come back for more. Thanks for watching.